Have you ever surprised yourself with your own reaction? Like a small comment hits you and suddenly you feel too much, or nothing at all. Like your adult mind knows it is not a big deal, but your body reacts like it is. If that happens, it does not mean you are dramatic or broken. It often means your nervous system is responding from an older blueprint. Today we are going to explore how childhood shapes adult emotions, not to blame the past, but to understand the present. Because once you understand the blueprint, you can start updating it too. And you can do it gently, without forcing yourself to become a different person overnight. Think of your emotions like a language you learned early. Not in school, not from books, from the atmosphere you grew up in now. From what happened when you cried. From what happened when you were angry. From what happened when you needed comfort. From what happened when you made a mistake. Your nervous system watched all of that and learned rules. Rules like, keep it in, stay quiet, be perfect, do not upset anyone, do not need too much. So when you feel strong emotions now, you are not only reacting to today, you are also reacting with the rules your brain learned when you were younger and the goal is to bring those rules into the light so they stop controlling you in the dark. Have you ever noticed how some people feel safe immediately and others feel unsafe even in calm rooms? That difference is not just personality. A lot of it is early conditioning. As a child, your brain was building a map of the world. Is the world predictable? Are people responsive? Do I matter? Am I safe when I make mistakes? That map gets built before you have words for it. It gets built through repetition. If comfort was consistent, your body learned feelings are safe, I will be helped. If comfort was inconsistent, your body learned feelings are risky, I might be ignored, I might have to try harder. If comfort was harsh or scary, your body learned feelings are dangerous, I should hide them. Those are not conscious choices, they are survival learning. And survival learning becomes emotional habit. Imagine your nervous system like a thermostat. In some homes, the emotional temperature was steady. People got upset, then repaired. People disagreed, then came back together. Mistakes were corrected, not punished. In other homes, the temperature swung fast. One day warmth, the next day coldness. One moment calm, the next moment explosion. When you grow up in swings, your nervous system becomes a weather forecaster. Always scanning. Always watching faces. Always reading tone. Because unpredictability teaches the body to stay alert. So later in adulthood, even when you are safe, your body may still scan. That is anxiety that makes no sense to your logical mind, but makes perfect sense to your childhood nervous system. Have you ever felt guilty for having needs? Like needing reassurance feels embarrassing. Needing support feels like too much. That often comes from early messages about need. Some children were taught, directly or indirectly, that needing is a burden. Maybe nobody said it out loud, but the child felt it. The sighs, the impatience, the emotional absence. So the child learned, I must be easy, I must be low maintenance, I must not ask. And later as an adult, the person can feel shame for normal needs. They might over-explain, apologize, minimize, or disappear. Not because they are weak. Because their nervous system learned, needing equals risk. So the adult self often tries to be lovable by being undemanding. And that creates emotional loneliness, even when people are around. Have you ever struggled to name what you feel? Like you know something is happening inside you, but you cannot find the words. That is not a lack of intelligence. That is often a lack of emotional modeling. Children learn emotions the way they learn language. By hearing them named and seeing them handled. If no one said, you look disappointed, you seem scared, you feel embarrassed, you feel overwhelmed, then the child may grow up with a blurry emotional world. Just good, bad, stressed, fine. And when emotions are blurry, regulation gets harder. Because you cannot soothe what you cannot name. So the adult might default to coping behaviors instead. Overthinking, scrolling, eating, working, numbing. Not because they are undisciplined. Because they were not taught the vocabulary for what is happening inside. Have you ever felt like certain emotions were not allowed? Like sadness felt embarrassing, anger felt dangerous, joy felt risky. Family systems often have emotional rules. Some families punish anger, so the child learns to swallow it. Some families punish sadness, so the child learns to smile. Some families punish confidence, so the child learns to shrink. Some families punish weakness, so the child learns to perform strength. The child adapts, because adaptation is survival. But the cost is that the emotion does not disappear. It goes underground. And underground emotions come out sideways later. Irritability instead of sadness. Numbness instead of grief. People-pleasing instead of anger. Perfectionism instead of fear. So when you feel emotions in confusing ways, it may be your nervous system using the only pathways it learned were safe. Have you ever felt like you became a certain role in your family, and you are still living in it? Maybe you became the responsible one, the peacemaker, the invisible one, the achiever, the caretaker, the funny one, the one who never caused problems. Family roles often form when a system is stressed. A child senses what the family needs, and becomes it. If chaos existed, you became control. If conflict existed, you became peace. If neglect existed, you became independent. If criticism existed, you became perfect. These roles can help a child survive emotionally. But later, the role becomes a cage. Because adulthood asks for flexibility, not one identity. So the adult might feel trapped, exhausted, or unsure who they are without the role. And that shows up as emotion, frustration, emptiness, anxiety, resentment. Have you ever noticed you cannot relax unless everyone around you is okay? Like your calm depends on other people's mood? That often comes from growing up around emotional unpredictability. When a child has to monitor a parent's mood, the child learns hyper-awareness. They become good at reading microsignals, a pause, a breath, a change in footsteps. That skill can look like empathy, but inside it can feel like vigilance. In adulthood, this becomes people-pleasing, fawning, over-explaining, apologizing quickly, avoiding conflict. Not because you love conflict-free life. Because your body learned conflict equals danger. So the nervous system chooses safety behaviors. The adult may say yes when they mean no. They may swallow needs to keep the room stable. Then later they feel resentment and shame. Resentment because boundaries were crossed. Shame because they blame themselves for not having boundaries. But it is a learned survival pattern, not a moral failure. Have you ever felt emotionally numb in moments you expected to feel something? Like you should feel happy, but you feel flat. Or you should feel sad, but you feel nothing. Numbness is not a lack of emotion. It is often an overload response. When a child grows up with too much emotion around them, or too little support for emotion, the nervous system can choose shutdown. Shutdown is the body saying, feeling this fully is too much, so I will reduce sensation. In adulthood, shutdown can look like procrastination, disconnection, brain fog, avoiding intimacy, avoiding difficult conversations. It can also look like being calm in crisis, but lost in normal life. Some people become excellent in emergencies and numb in everyday moments. Because their body learned how to survive intensity, but not how to rest. Have you ever been afraid of your own anger? Like anger feels like a monster you have to keep locked up. Many adults fear anger because of what anger meant in childhood. Maybe anger in your home meant yelling, fear, punishment, chaos. So your nervous system associates anger with danger. Then, as an adult, you either avoid anger completely, or you feel it explode after long suppression. But anger itself is not the enemy. Anger is often a boundary signal. It says something matters, something feels unfair, something needs protection. When anger was unsafe in childhood, the adult loses access to a natural boundary tool. So they either become too accommodating or too reactive. Healing often means learning a new relationship with anger. Not rage, not suppression, but clean anger that informs boundaries. And clean boundaries are a form of emotional safety. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of shame that makes you want to disappear? Like you made a small mistake and your whole body says, I am wrong, I am bad, I am exposed. That is often childhood shame conditioning. Children are not born with deep shame. Shame grows when love feels conditional. When mistakes are met with humiliation. when emotions are mocked, when comparisons are constant, when approval must be earned. A child cannot say, "This environment is unhealthy." A child says, "It must be me." So shame becomes the explanation for pain. Then, as an adult, shame shows up quickly. It feels like heat in the face, tight throat, sinking stomach. And shame often triggers rumination, perfectionism, and hiding in. Because hiding feels like safety. But hiding also keeps the wound alive. So the work becomes replacing shame with accuracy. I made a mistake. I am still worthy. That sentence is a nervous system retraining sentence. Have you ever felt like you must be perfect to be safe? Like relaxation feels irresponsible. Like rest feels like you are falling behind. Perfectionism is often a childhood strategy. In some environments, being good was a way to avoid punishment. Being excellent was a way to earn attention. Being helpful was a way to keep connection. So the child learns, if I perform, I am safe. Then the adult carries that belief into school, work, relationships. But perfectionism is a hungry strategy. It never says you are done. It always says, do more, be better, do not slip. So the nervous system stays tense. And when you are tense, your emotions become reactive. Small criticism feels huge. Small failure feels catastrophic. Because perfectionism treats mistakes as threats to belonging. So healing means teaching the body, I can be imperfect and still be loved, still be safe, still be okay. Have you ever had a reaction that felt bigger than the moment? Like someone's tone hits you, and suddenly you feel small, helpless, or panicked. That can be an emotional flashback. An emotional flashback is not always a dramatic memory. It can be a body memory. Your nervous system recognizes a pattern that once meant danger. So it reacts as if the danger is happening again. You might feel young inside, even though you are an adult. You might feel like you have to defend yourself, explain yourself, or shut down. If this happens, a powerful question is, how old does this feeling feel? Not your real age, the feeling age. That question creates space. Because it reminds you, this is not only about now. Then you can add a grounding statement. I am here now. I have choices now. That is how you bring adult power into a childhood response. Have you ever noticed your relationship patterns feel automatic? Like you either cling, or you distance, or you overthink, or you shut down. A lot of adult relationship behavior comes from early attachment learning. Attachment is the nervous system's strategy for staying connected. If caregivers were consistent, the child learns secure connection. I can need you, you will respond. If caregivers were inconsistent, the child may learn anxious connection. I must try harder, I must monitor, I must not lose you. If caregivers were distant or rejecting, the child may learn avoidant connection. Needing feels risky, I will depend on myself. These are not labels to shame yourself with, Ed. They are maps. And maps help you understand why love can feel like calm for some people and danger for others. Healing often means learning secure behaviors slowly. Clear communication, boundaries, repair, tolerating space, tolerating closeness. Not overnight, through repetition. Have you ever felt like work or school triggers your childhood emotions? Like feedback feels like attack, authority feels threatening, being watched feels unbearable. This happens because childhood teaches you what authority means. If authority was harsh, your body reacts to bosses or teachers as if they are dangerous. If authority was unpredictable, your body becomes hyper-alert around evaluation. If praise was rare, you might chase it desperately. If criticism was constant, you might fear it even when it is gentle. So you can start noticing patterns. Do I freeze when corrected? Do I over-explain to avoid punishment? Do I become perfect to avoid shame? Do I avoid tasks because failure feels unsafe? These patterns are not laziness. They are protective behaviors. Once you see them, you can retrain them by building adult safety, boundaries, self-talk, and regulation skills. Have you ever wondered why your body reacts faster than your mind? Why your chest tightens before you can think? Why you feel flooded before you can choose? That is because childhood learning is stored in the nervous system. Your body learned safety and danger early. So in adulthood, the body reacts first. This is why healing is not only insight. Insight helps, but nervous system practice changes the pattern. Breathing, grounding, slowing your response, creating predictable routines. Those are safety messages your body understands. When your body learns safety, your emotions become less extreme. Because the body stops yelling. So part of healing childhood-shaped emotions is learning to widen your window of tolerance. The window where you can feel and still think. Where you can be upset and still choose. Where you can be anxious and still respond calmly. Have you ever felt discouraged because you understand your patterns, but they still happen? That is normal. Understanding is the beginning, not the finish line. A pattern can be understood in the mind, but still live in the body. So the next step is compassion plus repetition. Compassion says, of course, my system reacts. It learned this for survival. Repetition says, and I can teach it something new. So instead of asking, why am I still like this? Try asking, what is my system trying to protect me from? Then ask, what would protection look like now, as an adult? Maybe it is setting a boundary. Maybe it is resting. Maybe it is asking for clarity. Maybe it is leaving a harmful situation. Maybe it is stopping self-punishment. Adult protection is often calmer than childhood protection. But it is still protection. Have you ever heard the phrase reparenting and wondered what it actually means? Reparenting is not pretending your childhood never happened. It is giving your nervous system new experiences of safety, guidance, and care. It can be simple. When you feel overwhelmed, you speak to yourself like a steady adult. I am here, we will handle this, one step at a time. When you feel shame, you replace attack with repair. I made a mistake. I can fix what I can learn. I do not need to destroy myself. When you feel anxious, you give your body calm structure. Long exhale, feet on ground, one next step. Reparenting also means setting boundaries that your younger self could not set. No to disrespect. No to chaos. No to constant taking. Yes to rest. Yes to calm. Yes to support. Every boundary is a message to your nervous system, I protect us now. Have you ever wanted a practical exercise to connect the dots in your own life? Try this gentle journaling practice, and keep it short. Write one situation that triggers you now. Then write what you fear it means. Then write what it reminds you of, even if it is vague. Then write what you needed back then. Comfort, protection, permission, encouragement, understanding. Then write what you can give yourself now. A pause. A kind sentence. A boundary. A plan. A breath. This is not about blaming caregivers. It is about meeting your real need. Because unmet needs often turn into adult emotional intensity. When needs are met, the nervous system calms. And calm makes life feel easier. Have you ever wished you could update your emotional blueprint without reopening every painful memory? You can. You do not have to relive everything to heal. A lot of healing happens through new present experiences. Safe friendships. Consistent routines. Healthy relationships. Therapy if available. Community if available. And also through small daily choices. Pausing before reacting. Choosing self-respect. Practicing direct communication. Letting yourself rest before burnout. Each small choice gives the nervous system evidence that you are safe enough now. Evidence that you have power now. Evidence that you can handle discomfort without collapse. That evidence becomes the new blueprint. Not by one big moment. By many small, steady moments. Have you ever wondered what it looks like when childhood-shaped emotions start to heal? It often looks like this. You still get triggered, but you recover faster. You still feel fear, but you do not obey it immediately. You still feel shame, but you do not drown in it. You still feel anger, but you express it cleanly. You start choosing boundaries without guilt. You stop apologizing for existing. You begin trusting your perception. You become less addicted to certainty. You feel more steady inside. Not perfect, steady. And steadiness is what most people are truly seeking. Not constant happiness. Just an inner sense of safety. If your emotions feel intense all the time, or you feel unsafe, or you are dealing with panic, trauma, or thoughts of harming yourself, please reach out to a qualified professional or local support resources. You deserve real support. This channel is for education and self-understanding, not a replacement for care. As we close, I want you to remember one core idea. Your adult emotions are not random. They are often intelligent responses from an older nervous system. Once you see the pattern, you can stop blaming yourself. And once you stop blaming yourself, you can start leading yourself. With compassion. With practice. With small, steady steps. Next episode, we can go deeper into one specific pattern, people-pleasing, perfectionism, or emotional numbness, and build a practical plan to shift it slowly.